never checked in on me, dog. What the?
Well, it's a hierarchy. So if in my head I think you're doing better than me, I'm not checking. I'm only checking on the people who are either on the same place that
That's
I am.
crazy how that works. That's crazy how psychology works.
Because in my head I'm like, what can I do for you that you can't do for yourself?
All right, welcome back to another episode of the Real Deal Podcast with Mr. Cleon Deal and myself, Brandon Haley. Appreciate you guys tuning in to this special Thanksgiving edition. By the time this episode drops, Thanksgiving will have already happened, so we hope you guys had a great, enjoyable time.
Absolutely.
With your family and had a good time. I don't know, ate a lot of food. Whatever else we're going to do on Thanksgiving, that's what I'm looking forward to. Is
just enjoying the people you're around, man.
The people and the food. The food's always good. Man, I wish we dropped this episode a week before so I could be like, hey, who wants to invite me over? I love some good food. So before we get into the topic of today, which in the spirit of Thanksgiving, we're going to talk about some relationships that we're most grateful for. We also, amen. We also always like to talk about current events, things that happen. And this week, I was on TikTok and seeing Cleon talking about some video. And I was just like, okay, this is right up our alley. It's pretty interesting. So I was like, I got some hot takes on this. I was listening to Cleon's hot take on TikTok. So
TikTok hot takes.
Basically, I'm going to play a little bit of the video and we're going to give our little takes on it. But before I play it, you want to kind of summarize what it is?
So basically, what it's going to talk about a little bit is the expectation of a relationship, what you expect from your partner, and what happens when they're no longer delivering on that expectation. So without getting too much details, let's go ahead.
Yeah, so I'll play it. And this is from Teacups Talk podcast. So I'm going to play a little bit for you guys now.
I mean, the number one rule with being with me is you have to provide. I won't settle for anything less. So my husband ended up losing his job.
He had a job?
Yeah,
where he worked at?
He had a job. He was a manager at a warehouse.
Put the mic in so these people can hear you. He was a manager at a warehouse?
He was a manager at a warehouse.
Okay.
So he ended up losing his job. He came home and he told me. I'm like, okay, cool. All right. So a month went by and he looked for me to pay the bills. Who paid?
Now, pause it right there just real quick. Obviously, we're going to play the rest of this. I'm just very interested at this point, obviously. If you are in a relationship, ladies, and obviously it's the burden of providing has been put on the man. If he did not have it.
By nature.
By nature, right? He did not have it, let's say, for the month. Being, we fall on hard times. That's what life is sometimes. What would you do? How would you handle that situation? This is a good question for yourself. And to think intrinsically on what would your reaction be, what would your response be, and how would you
let us know in the comments. Let us know in the comments what would happen in that situation. From this first part of the video, I'm hearing her talk, and I skipped forward like 20 seconds into it, but most of it makes sense.
Yeah,
most of it makes sense. Like, all right, you set your expectations, and you let them know, which as a woman you should, as a male you should set your expectations as well. But here we go, some more.
So I was going to consider it if he gave me the money back for paying the bills. And he told me no. He felt like he shouldn't have to do that. What do you mean? When I told you, as a man, I expect you to provide. Under no circumstances will I ever touch bills as long as I got a husband.
No circumstances.
None. If you can hear.
He probably happy you gone, man.
I'm sure he missed me.
A headache? That would be a headache for me. Like, I know I just lost my job. What if he lied? Niggas do.
All right. So from that, they're married.
Yes, married.
They're married. 1 month. The husband loses his job. 1 month. it hasn't even been a month, so it's been basically a month. He's asking for bills.
Correct.
And she will only agree to it if he's going to pay her back.
If he's going to reimburse her for the bills that they share, and taking up, things like rent and utilities, things that they're both using on a monthly basis. She will only pay it if he reimburses her for it.
I just think that's just crazy to me. I mean, I agree. I agree the guy should be the provider, but obviously,
right,
she got a little skin in the game. She's married to the dude.
Married.
You're going to end a whole marriage based off, you don't got money for 1 month. That's it.
The vows say for better or for worse, for richer
or for poor.
That's what it says. I don't know if she agreed to that part at the wedding. I don't really know what she said during the vow ceremony. But
I hope she didn't sign a prenup. If she's the breadwinner in that situation, hopefully homie gets some money to pay his bills. That divorce, I don't know. I don't know the full situation. But it definitely makes sense where she started off of setting the expectation. Hey, you got to be the provider. I don't want to touch your bill.
Right.
As a man, if you agree to that, then you got to figure it out. But obviously, there's a thing called life, and it happens.
Mm-hmm.
So when it happens, like, you got to have a girl that's going to hold you down, not somebody that's going to kick you to the curb. Like, that's just absurd to me. You need someone that's going to help you build, somebody that's going to be there for you to help you rebuild, get back onto your feet. Now, if this was like 3 months and he's still asking, that means you're lazy. You know what I'm saying? But she just said just 1 month. So I'm like, that's a little absurd. What so far, what do you think your thoughts are? What are your thoughts on that, man?
I think first and foremost, there's a line between, basically there needs to be a line drawn on what your expectations are. They've got to be realistic. So obviously I expect you to provide. That makes sense. I think we can agree on that. But when it comes to a point of I can't be with you because you lost your job and you can't provide for 1 month and I shouldn't have to touch a bill. I guess my question is, if I were to be talking to her, what were you expecting once he told you this? To me, my first mode is, all right, bills still have to be paid now that I don't have a job. How are we going to pay the bills? And I feel like maybe it wasn't the first thought to her, because in her head, you're still paying them. But my question is, what were you expecting to happen? And then obviously, how much are you contributing to this marriage to which you feel like if he loses his job, that you don't have to contribute to anything? Because it's like, if her job, let's say, I'm assuming she's assuming the role of a quote unquote traditional wife. So he pays all the bills, she takes care of the house. So let's say, God forbid, something happens to her and she breaks her knee or something like that, and she can't pick up around the house. She can't cook or clean for a month.
Yeah, then what?
Does he then divorce her? Because my expectation was that for you as a woman, I shouldn't have to touch a dish. I shouldn't have to cook a meal. I shouldn't have to fold a shirt. You know what I'm saying? Like, what's the expectation there?
Yeah, I guess those are some things that we don't fully understand and know. But then I'm also thinking, she said 1 month, but is this like 1 month that he asked her for money, or did he have money saved up to where he paid bills for 2 to 3 months? Because then it's like, if you're such a materialistic woman, why did you get into a marriage with a man who doesn't have bills paid, like money saved to pay bills in a situation like this? So then that's on you as well. So it's like, why'd you get into that?
Because he's a manager of a warehouse. So, I don't know what the cap is on warehouse managers. I don't know what warehouse or anything like that. So I don't know what he was making.
I would imagine he'd have at least a
month or two, something like that. So I don't know if it's basically the money's run out and then the next month they have to, if they're living month to month, or if he just feels like, since I don't have a job right now, I shouldn't have to pay the bills for this month. I don't really know, what the situation is there, but that's also an interesting question, because obviously but also she later says in this video that we said that your money is my money and my money is my money.
Oh yeah, that's crazy.
So
your money is your money, but you can have some of my money, but not all my money.
Right, exactly. So I don't know basically what the situation is outside of bills, how much he's providing for her as well. So it's like, I don't know if there's extra money going to these things. I don't know how their budgeting is, but overall, to me, this is just an outrageous take for anybody who's
you're
married.
We need some more information, but it's an outrageous take because why end a marriage over that?
Ending the marriage over
that can't be the reason. That can't be the only reason.
Well, she later in another video says that she thought that he was a simp. For those of you who don't know what that modern terminology is, he's like a loser, basically, is what she's essentially calling him. He's very, very head over heels for her and willing to do anything for her.
Isn't that what women want?
Yeah, but then they say they want it, but they only want it when they like you, not before they like you. So it's a timing thing, right? So if you meet you meet a girl, you're all over her. She's like, oh, I'm gonna walk all over this guy for whatever. Why are you people like this? First of all, why are y'all like this? And we're like, oh, if he's too nice, I'm just gonna walk all over him. Why would you choose to do that? But that's kind of where her mindset was.
Kick a man while he's down.
Exactly.
Baby.
She was like, he's a simp, and I knew he was when he accepted me because I had a few kids when we got together, and I saw an opportunity and I took advantage of it. These were her literal words. So she saw that he was a guy who was going to take care of her, and she was like, oh, okay, cool. I want to be taken care of, so I'm going to go and do this. And so she didn't marry out of love. She married because of the fact that she knew he was going to do all these things.
So she's just crazy. Now she's on the Teacup podcast. Teacups Talk podcast.
Yeah.
Just trying to get some clout, I guess. You want to play the rest of this, or are we good?
Nah, we're good. She also later said she doesn't want to embarrass her husband anymore, but this was already pretty embarrassing. So shout out to that guy. I hope he's doing well. I hope he's gotten a better job, and I hope his life is going amazing right now.
Shout out to that guy, man. Hopefully
he seems like a good guy.
Based on her trying to get clout off this. I don't even know. Talking about it on a podcast is crazy.
Yeah, right.
Hopefully he got some recognition and maybe some money from it. Hopefully he is doing well, man.
Yeah.
In the spirit of Thanksgiving, man, we strive. We want you to keep pushing, my man. Keep pushing, my dog.
Yeah.
All right, so let's get into
what we're going to talk about today.
What we want to talk about today is the relationships. What we want to talk about today first is the relationships that we are most thankful for. And basically, I'll go ahead and start. And these aren't questions that I thought of, guys. These are questions that I got off of AI. So
shout out to AI, baby.
But to get going, these are some pretty good questions. Tell me about a relationship in your life that has shaped who you are today.
So there's a bunch of them. So I would say probably one of the largest relationships that I had that kind of shaped who I am today is multiple friendships. I'll say probably one of my longest tenured friendships that unfortunately is no longer active at this current juncture, but that's a story for another day.
Is it a female?
No. Oh. One of the homies, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, okay, all right. Well, we talked about that on our friend relationships podcast.
Yeah.
On that episode, we'll dive into that one.
Yeah, but basically that had a lot to do with who I am today because it kind of shaped how I see almost like a good and evil almost. So thankful for the process and thankful for kind of the resolution of it. But basically what it allowed me to see is that through life, kind of how strong a bond is with somebody and the things that you have to go through, because it's obviously there's some things that you do in your life that you don't really want to talk to your mom and your dad about because some of the stories, you just don't feel like you can tell them. Your siblings, you know what I'm saying, just depending on where they are in their life, you don't really want to bother them. That sometimes your homies are the only people that seen, when you guys go and do stupid stuff, you go and do it together. So it's not going to be any judgment. You're just talking about it from a standpoint of something that you guys did. So I'm thankful for those and, all those days that, I was able to sit and talk with my friends about, the joys, the ups and downs, especially when I came out here by myself. There was a lot of downs. And some things I kept to myself until after I got through them. But obviously when you come to your friend and tell them something like that, they're like, well, why didn't you tell me something earlier? You know what I'm saying? I could have helped you out. I could have done this. So I think, but basically what that allowed me to be, I think, is a better friend to the people that are around me now. And so I check up on people. What do you need? I don't ask if you need anything. I ask, what do you need?
Yeah. So that relationship allowed you to be more empathetic towards other people.
Allowed me to be also more proactive with people because everybody's going through something. You know what I'm saying?
You never checked in on me, dog. What the?
Well, it's a hierarchy. So if in my head I think you're doing better than me, I'm not checking on you. I'm only checking on the people who are either on the same place that
That's
I am.
crazy how that works, though. That's crazy how psychology works.
Because in my head I'm like, what can I do for you that you can't do for yourself? So let me go, you know what I'm saying, to the people that are almost kind of looking up to me. You know what I'm saying? What's up with you? How are you doing? What do you need? What's going on with you?
Yeah, no, that's a valid point. You know, checking on people that you think are doing better than you.
Yeah.
But that's good. So that he shaped you basically by making you more empathetic, proactive, helping those in your closest circle around you.
And just a different outlook on life, because basically for me, there were times. How do I put this? There's a reason why people decide to either do the right or the wrong thing, right? Every day in life. So sometimes my decision doing the right thing is because I saw my just doing the wrong things.
You saw your friend doing them.
Doing the wrong things. So acting in a way, I'm like, I don't really like the result of that. So I can help and coach him through those things. But then I know I'm like, let me not do that. And because of that, I think for a while I made better decisions because of kind of, I would see how he would go through those things. Obviously, we would talk about it, grow from it, learn from it. But a wise man always learns from another man's errors. And so that's how that allowed me to kind of get to, I think, a place of maturity just a little bit quicker, because I didn't have to make those mistakes and go through them. I could watch them.
I try to do that too.
Yeah.
You know, then you just learn through the mistakes as well. So that's good. A relationship for me that shaped who I am today. That's I mean, obviously besides my mom, like,
right?
That's
of course.
Obviously the closest person. Like, she knows everything. Definitely a huge mama's boy, but that's also because I didn't grow up with a dad, so you can't be. She can't be. You can't be like a dad's son.
That'll do it
without having. But I would say the one that I'm trying to think. It had to be my football coaches.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a big thing for us, man. Coaches.
But I was who the most though? Yeah, it had to be the football coaches. Because growing up without my biological father in the home.
Yeah.
I didn't meet him until I was 20. I was blessed and lucky enough to have father figures in other roles. So like my two best friends' dads played a bigger role. They didn't like teach me how to build a bench or anything like that, but they were present in, rides to and from football practice and things like that. But I would say it would have to be.
What's something that you took from, let's say, each of them?
Be my football coach. Yeah.
What's something that you took from
I didn't really get like the father lessons from them. It was more of the father presence of being there.
Right.
But from football, it was always hard work and discipline. So that, I would say, the coaches that I had, the time that they spent with me, the discipline, the hard work, hey, I got to prepare you for life.
Right.
Because it's not going to be any easier than this.
Yeah.
Instilling that into
this is the easiest ever going to be.
Yeah, literally. The spending extra time with me to talk about those kind of things. So I'd say my high school football coach probably had the biggest impact, but definitely my little league coach was there too. I'd definitely say my high school football coach had a bigger impact, because when it comes to, especially when it came to leadership, because he would always try and talk to me about it, but I never really knew what the word was. It's like, hey, go out there and be a leader. I was the quiet guy that just tried to play ball, put people in positions. I was not the loud person. I was like, hey, let me just go out there, do my job and play, make sure people understand and do their job. So that really, his talk to me about leadership and discipline really helped shape my life. Because right after that, then he's like, hey, he got me with the vice principal of the school that I was at. It's like, hey, you should join the student activities board for the local state college. Before I went to USF, I went to the state college. And then that now I'm learning leadership, what it is, without without being on the football field.
So he saw something in you for whatever reason.
Yeah. So
right?
his presence and his conversations really helped shape that direction of, oh, hey, you got to learn this whole new world of what is leadership. So definitely, I would say that relationship. But there's been so many father figures that I have had in my life that I'm very grateful for.
Right.
But that, I would say, the most impactful one.
Great. Lovely. And it's important always for you all to think about what relationships have you feel like have fundamentally shaped who you are today, and to be thankful for those things. Because obviously, if you are in a good place and you are, what you would consider a good person, it's important to reflect on those things that got you there so you can help somebody else.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, going on, relationships are just so important. Like the people that you keep around you is so important because the saying, you hang around 4 broke people, you're going to be the fifth.
You're going to be the fifth.
You hang around 4 millionaires, you're going to be the fifth.
Ideally.
And it's super important to understand who you want to keep close and who you want to push away. And one of the other relationships that I'm grateful for is through life insurance. I actually met my pastor.
Yeah.
So I technically have like 2 pastors in my life, one being my barber who used to be a pastor.
Okay.
And we're going to have him as a guest here eventually.
Mm-hmm.
And then my pastor of Triumph and Deliverance Cathedral, who was here and then moved to Houston and now is in the process of moving back. I met him through life insurance.
Right.
Calling the leads. And then he was campaigning locally too, because he does some local campaigning government stuff with the county. And then he accidentally answered the phone call, whatever. I set the appointment. Yeah. And we've been, he's been my pastor ever since. Super great guy. And just having relationships like that, and the insight that he's given me to help me get through any kind of hardships that I've had in my life. And then he also gave me the opportunity this week, what day was it? It was Thursday, today Saturday. Yeah. So it was Thursday, to speak at the Great American Teach-In, which is like, yeah, you heard of that?
No, I don't, but it sounds nice.
So the Great American Teach-In is basically like a career day for the students. So yeah, I got to go speak at Sheehy Elementary, Sheehy, however you spell it, elementary school, or however you pronounce it. Yeah, they were saying Sheehy, but then I'm like, this is elementary school, so it doesn't make sense. But just having that relationship gave me that opportunity, which is super fulfilling because of the nonprofit that I want to open up as well. It just gave me a lot more conviction and passion to get that ball rolling on that as well. But just speaking to the kids, it was 2nd grade, and a lot of them are smart, and a lot of them are already going through hardships in their life. So it was really
were you the tallest one there? Or?
Thank God. If I had 5th grade, I probably wouldn't have been. But it was very uplifting and fulfilling for me to be able to do that and pour into the next generation. That opportunity came from the relationships I decided to keep closer to me. So.
Right. Wonderful. So one of these other questions that this has listed, I'd like to ask here. Where did this one just go? Jesus. Okay, there we go. Share a story about someone who challenged you to grow even when it was uncomfortable, and how has that influenced who you are today?
So this is actually a good one it's the one that came to the top of my head. And this person wasn't in my life for a long time.
Okay.
But she was very impactful. And you could probably understand this whenever I say it. I did Spanish 2 at the State College because I thought that I needed it to go to USF, but hindsight, I really didn't. So I did it. And I was going all in, waking up, listening to Spanish news, listening to Spanish music, always participating in class. And then, there just came a time where I just got lazy with it. Got real lazy.
Right.
And she saw that. And I was like, I don't know how you see it. I'm just a white boy. I'm not supposed to know Spanish. I'm not supposed to be able to.
I don't even need to be here.
I'm not even supposed to be able to enunciate it well.
Right.
And she pulled me aside. And I'll always remember that she just why, calling me out, why are you being so lazy?
Oh, wow.
And she's like, you understand this stuff. And you know that if you have a lot of potential. So that if you actually applied it, you could understand this a lot faster.
Right.
And get good at it. And I'm just like, you're right. and I still don't know Spanish that well. I do have I paid for the app, Babbel, however you pronounce it. So occasionally I do get on there and continuously to try and learn. I can't understand it a little bit, but ain't no way I can speak it. But that was one thing. It's just like basically she said, apply yourself and you'll be able to get it. So that's one thing that stuck with me for a long time. And we never really had, it was a semester long class. So it wasn't like I seen her every day or anything like that.
Right.
So that's that one. I don't even remember the full question on that one. So I'm not even going to ask you again. What was that question?
Basically it was, where was this? Shoot, I lost it again. There we go. What? Oh, there we go. Share a story about someone who challenged you to grow even when it was uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And how has that influenced who you are today?
Okay, and how has that influenced?
Yeah,
is because I do go through these phases of like hot and cold. You know what I'm saying? One thing I'm like super motivated, and then I burn out and I die down. So I get cold. Then I'm like, I don't really find enjoyment or pleasure in it anymore. So then I stop. And you've seen this in life insurance because it wasn't fulfilling to me. So things that are fulfilling to me, then I'm going to keep going and stay motivated. Things that become unfulfilled to me, then I don't want to do them anymore. And that's like a thing that I've always had. And I just always remember that with other lessons that people have told me and talked to me about is to basically get your crap together.
Right.
Stay motivated, stay disciplined. And motion creates the emotion to do something. So if you stay in the bed, you're going to not want to do anything. If you get up and get moving, get into the flow of it, have a routine, you're going to want to stay motivated.
Right.
So how about you? What's a good story for you?
So for me, it was a very brief conversation I had with this young lady one day. I won't say her name, but I was having a conversation with her. I was just playing around, whatever. And we were talking about kind of the same things we talk about here, relationships and why they may go good or bad. And I remember that I said the phrase, I said, I feel like, sometimes I might just be like a little bit misunderstood. And she asked me this question, which, people don't really be asking me questions like that. But she says, are you misunderstood? Or are you just bad at explaining yourself?
Yeah.
And I said, oh, wait a second. But what that allowed me to do is kind of started thinking about basically where am I going wrong? Because typically I try to take as much accountability as possible, but that kind of forced me to kind of tweak it a little bit when I'm having conversations with obviously even in my current relationships. My main thing is that because now I probably over-explain things since I've had that conversation
with you. So basically,
so I probably over-explain things, the things that I'm feeling when I get asked a very direct question like, hey, why do you feel like this? Or why do you think like this? And I do this over explanation of usually it's trying to make sure that they know that whatever it is that I feel or whatever it is I do is not directly pertaining to them. So I don't want them to feel bad about what my actions are, and then go into basically why I do what I do. And they'll look at me like, why are you talking still? Basically, like, why am I explaining all this? Is because basically somebody told me one day that maybe I'm bad at explaining the things that I do, and maybe I'm not clear about what I'm trying to say. Yeah. Exactly. Now I'm over explaining it. But obviously there's a happy medium somewhere in there. But that forced me to think about that a little bit differently to make sure that I'm clear to other people, because I understand me, but that doesn't mean everybody else does.
Right. Yeah, everybody's got different perspectives. So, yeah, that's a good lesson as well. I have a good question for you. If I can find it again.
These things are really elusive on here, man.
Yeah. All right. So what's a lesson about love or friendship that you've learned from an important relationship in your life?
A lesson about love or friendship?
Yeah, a lesson about love or friendship that you've learned from an important relationship in your life.
I learned that love does hurt. Because unfortunately, right, we watch a lot of movies. And that's where we get our idea about what love is supposed to look like.
It hurts in the movie sometimes.
Yeah, it hurts, but it always usually ends up okay.
Yeah, except for this one movie that I watched about this paralyzed this guy got paralyzed and he's like
gosh.
super rich and he ended up dying at the end of it. But
That's
other
awful.
than that,
Other than
usually
that,
it's happy.
Exactly. They're usually good.
Forget the name of that.
So it basically going through, especially starting from way back in my first relationship when I felt like I was in love, right? As in love as you can be at 15, 16 years old. I learned that this stuff is not all bubbles and rainbows.
No.
But what that forced me to do later is understand that you have to take the good with the bad, and all those things are going to be included, and that every bad moment doesn't mean that it should be over. Because I also have, even recently, probably within the last few years, have had these ideas as soon as we have an argument, all right, well, this is over. Have a good day. That's it. In my head, the relationship is now over because we had a small disagreement about something. And that's pretty much it. And so I don't know why, but because I guess not being used to working through issues to come to an agreement, or even not an agreement, right? Because in a relationship, you don't have to agree at the end of it, but you have to decide to get through it. And then obviously you decide what disagreements are too big to continue, and which ones can you just get over. But that allowed me, that was a valuable thing that I learned about love. Obviously with that, should have let that go obviously a little bit sooner, but it forced me to understand that there are going to be those, not so fun times as well. Doesn't make it over, doesn't make it bad. It just makes it human. And that's obviously what it's going to be throughout our relationships.
I think one of the best lessons that I learned about, kind of relates to both, is stop trying to please everybody. Early on, I don't know if this is a trait that I got. Obviously, I had to get it through childhood because, how you're raised creates things. But I used to be the biggest people pleaser. And the people who are the biggest people pleasers do everything except please yourself. Like, you are literally taking away from yourself. You find fulfillment in pleasing others, which is a very toxic trait by itself. So learning to not please others, because why it's toxic is because in that friendship or in that relationship, you're putting that person first. When in any type of relationship or friendship, in order for it to grow, you need to put yourself first, because you need to work on yourself in order to show up as the best version of you in that relationship.
Right.
How relationships work is like a cake. And I read this in a book somewhere. Okay. I don't remember the name of the book.
It's like a cake?
Okay, cool. Let's put the cake together. Here's the metaphor. It's really quick. Don't worry.
Gotcha.
You got layers of the cake.
Yeah.
The first layer, the base layer,
right,
is the male relationship. All right. Holding everything together. The second layer is the female relationship. On the top is the icing. That's your relationship together. But both of those layers are individual layers. Right. So the base layer and the second layer are two individual layers. What holds it all together is the icing, and that's your relationship together.
Interesting.
Read that in a book one time. It stuck with me forever. But basically, you have to focus on yourself in order to be able to show up as your best self in that relationship. All right. If you like that metaphor, analogy, comment below. Please give me some hype. Just kidding. All right, to wrap this one up here for relationships, what are your top 3 relationships you're thankful for, and why?
My top 3, as in, what do you mean? For people, or just in relationships with things? Or what do you mean?
No, your current relationships with people. Like
so
mom, whatever it may be, and why?
Gotcha. My top 3 that I'm thankful for.
Family listening.
Yeah, I was gonna say this is
Hey man, whatever I think I say. So I'll preface this by, if you got family members listening, is that he loves all of you guys equal. Okay. And I'm sorry I asked the question, but I did. Yeah, and we're going there.
All right, let's.
Or you could do top 1.
Top
1, top 2, however you want to do it.
Okay. I'm gonna go mom number 1, because it's the easiest one, and I don't want to get it. Nobody's gonna be mad about me for this. Mad with me about this. But reason being is because my mother especially since I've moved out here, being her youngest son, obviously my dad's youngest son too, obviously. But basically she's been obviously very number one supportive of everything. But as I've grown older, being able to see kind of where she's growing in her wisdom and knowledge as well, I'm thankful for that, because she's doing things that I'm not doing yet, but basically passing those things on to me. So on one of the episodes where we talked about relationship with finances and money and things of that nature, now she's in investment classes and saying, hey, so we're going to be in this seminar on this. I can send you an invite if you want to be in on that. Hey, something we learned was this, this, and this. But in addition to that, obviously kind of trying to navigate me, because I don't really talk too much about my personal life with really anybody for real. But even as I kind of navigate through those things, she still tries to give me little tidbits and little bit of advice here and there. I remember there was a time where I thought my mom thought I was a whore a little bit.
She thought.
That's what I thought that by what she said, because she said something like, don't
She
be.
knew?
Allegedly. Because what she said to me, she said, you can't be, don't run around here spreading your seed if you don't have any intentions on, taking care of your fruit or something like that.
Amen. Mama knows best.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So I don't remember what conversation that we were having that prompted that, but I was like, does my mom think I'm out here just wild, wilding like this? But essentially, obviously, a mother knows. So it's one of those things where forcing me to make sure that I'm consistently growing and being better. So when I go and have these conversations with her, I don't ever really want to be in the same place that I was the last time. Like I said, every now and then when we do get some time together, we'll have real talks, and she'll ask me questions like we talked about, like, what could we have done better? What do you feel like you're missing here? What do you feel like even in your own personal relationships that you struggle with, that you wish maybe we could have given you a little bit of advice on? Which obviously it's great to have that now that I'm at the age I am now, because obviously we stop thinking about going to get girlfriends and we're thinking about going to get a wife. So it makes those conversations just that much more important, that much more insightful. And then obviously, like I said, as she learns, I get to learn. And so I can kind of be a few steps ahead of where I actually am now. So that makes So shout out to mom.
Is there any other relationships you want to talk about that you are thankful for, or how they've impacted you, or anything on that topic?
I think my twin sister, who by the way just got engaged.
Oh, congratulations!
So yeah, shout out to her. So my sister, twin sister, she's a mental health counselor over in Chicago, Illinois.
Love Chicago. Chicago's dope.
It's so nice, great skyline. The way he proposed actually was pretty cool. He got a helicopter and did the whole. I was like, does he have a helicopter guy? I need to. You know what I'm saying? let me see what we can do on that. But the reason why I'm thankful for my relationship with her, because quietly over the years, I compare myself to her. She doesn't know this, so because it's not a competition, but seeing her do what she's done in terms of going to school, getting a degree in her field, she's been blessed enough to have people around her that want to see her succeed, who have literally handed her jobs, handed her opportunities. And this is how she put it to me. So it's not like I'm saying she didn't work for it. She literally just said, hey, God and favor. That's all it is. Because, so watching her being able to do really, because it's very rare you get to see somebody do exactly what they set out to do. And so especially starting from when we go to school, I don't know how many people I know who went to school, got a degree, and is doing nothing that pertains to what they went there for.
I've never had a job that requires a degree.
Exactly,
never.
Right?
And I have it.
So being able to see her go in and do that and even excel after that with even more opportunities, being a part of different programs that they're opening up, they're asking her to be the head of things and things like that. So, and then obviously I asking her, what she makes money wise as well. I'm just trying to keep up. So every time she calls me and tells me she says I don't call her enough, which is probably true because I don't really call a lot of people.
Hey, here's your
all.
reminder: call your fam, call your fam, check in on your fam, call
your family, because every time my family calls me, they tell me about how I don't call them, which
here's
is
your sign.
Yeah, exactly. It's very warranted, but yeah, every time we talk and she gives me an update about kind of what she's doing, that kind of gets me like, all right, now I gotta go do a little bit more. She doesn't, like I said, she doesn't know this quiet, you know what I'm saying? But it inspires me to do a little bit more of something that I want to do, right? Because obviously we can all go work these jobs that we don't want to be at every day, but let me go out and do something that I want to do and try to be successful at it because I get to see her doing that. But yeah,
that's good. And not to cut you off too, but based on what you're saying too, trying to keep up with her financially as well. You always got to be prepared for the opportunity when the opportunity comes.
Absolutely.
So your opportunity is going to come and you're going to be good. So I think you're more than fully prepared when somebody asks you, well, you already are a lead at one of them. But even when the next promotion that comes, like you're already prepared for it. It's only a matter of time of when. Right. You already have what you want. It's only a matter of time of when.
Exactly. And
that's the kind of mindset that I've established for myself. And I know you have that as well. So
yeah. So I want to hear about yours.
My top relationship?
Yeah.
Mom, bro. Definitely.
Yeah.
Huge mama's boy. Lily got her birthday tattooed in Roman numerals. Literally, I asked her what tattoo she wanted me to get for her. She's a huge Tinkerbell tattoo. So if you see a Tinkerbell tattoo on me, that's why. It probably won't be a Tinkerbell tattoo. We're going to make it look cool, though.
Yeah.
My tattoo artist is phenomenal. Shout out Santana _ tattoos if you need some tattoos, man.
That's facts.
He does great work. But my mother, for a lot of reasons, and I had a good conversation with her recently, but just seeing her upbringing, she didn't really know what the hell she was doing. You know what I'm saying? And I didn't know that because I'm just a kid in this world that don't know what's going on.
Right.
And to put it into perspective, I was her third child and she had me at 25.
Jeez.
So I'm 31 and I feel like I don't know what I'm doing sometimes. You know what I'm saying? I'm still trying. I'm still learning.
That's one of the things about growing up. It's like you're at this age and like my parents had how many kids at this age?
That's why I'm like, wait, what?
What are you talking about?
So just to see like now I look back on what she had to go through.
Right.
With no money, raising kids, abusive relationships, all these things, and she still fought her way out of it. You know what I'm saying? She still fought her way out of it. And then she finally found a guy that loves her, and then they got married, and then they're together. And then one of the hard things that I talk about on that Skeletons episode too was when my stepdad got cancer.
Right.
It wasn't because I cared about him. It's because I care so deeply about my mom, and I seen everything that she had went through, and that she had finally found the guy that she wanted to grow old with, and she won't grow old with him.
Right.
And that is what hurt me.
It's tough.
I love my stepdad, not to say it like that, but he cares about the same thing. You know what I'm saying? He doesn't care about him dying. He cares about him leaving her alone. You know what I'm saying? So just seeing all of that and the way that she stayed resilient, still try to raise a whole house full of kids. My stepdad, when they got together, he had 2 kids. So it's a whole house of like 7 kids. Early on in my childhood, we had to have our cousins live with us for some other crazy reason. So double wide trailer with like 8 kids in it. You know what I'm saying?
Just army.
Literally a whole daycare, essentially. Yeah. So seeing her always persevere and get through those things. And anytime anything's ever happened to me, from that first failed relationships to the jobs to God, whatever it may be, she's always there for me to call. And I never want to think about the time where she's not going to be there for me to call, because especially when it comes to relationships. And it's just like, she knows women well, you know what I'm saying? Because she's been through a lot herself. You know what I'm saying? So she knows how to react. So she'd be like, yeah, they're done with you. Move on. So I'm like, no, I don't want to. You know what I'm saying? Or like, oh, they're probably thinking this. You should do this. So just a lot of the stuff that she's helped me overcome through those hardships, through adversity, through not making money whenever I needed money, things get tight, like around the eviction time, and she didn't have a lot of money, but whatever she could spare, she would spare, and I would just give it back to her. But by no means this was she like super rich.
Yeah.
There was a point in time where they were well off, then the stock market crashed, but that's a whole different story.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely my mom, man. Definitely.
And she gave you advice about girls, and did it work?
It always worked.
It always worked.
I mean, it's mostly I came to it when it's always too late.
It's always
I never
too late.
come to it when it was working.
Oh, during never come to when a relationship.
It's like your relationship with God. You know what I'm saying? When your life's good, you barely talk to him. Then it's bad. You're like, oh God, I'm here again. I'm here again. You know what I mean? So it's like it's only when it started getting rocky. I'm like, hey mom, what should I do? Well, you're probably too late, son. But
right.
I still explain. It's still somebody that I could vent to at the end of the day, and then gives you makes you feel a little bit better about yourself, and let you know that you're an idiot and that you messed up sometimes too, because we all need to hear that as well. But yeah, definitely a big mama's boy. God bless her though. So yeah. All right, to wrap things up here, we'll go over the next topic we want to speak about on the next episode, man. But Thanksgiving has passed, man. It's time to be grateful, have that attitude of gratitude that we talk about. It's not just, this isn't the only time to have that attitude of gratitude. It's
gratitude daily, baby.
You got to have it daily, 100%. And you got to figure out what it is. Man, I was just talking with somebody today, man. And I was making a joke about my beard. I'm like, I'm 31. This is all I can grow. And they're like, yeah, the people that have beards don't want beard. I was like, I never heard that. But the people that
grass is always greener.
Want beards, and then the people with red hair want blonde hair, and then the people with blonde straight hair want the curly hair, and it's just like, you have what somebody wants, and what you want somebody else has. So it's like you always gotta be appreciative and grateful for what you have: health, a house to live in, the ability to buy what you want to buy, or in that realm, reliable transportation. Find the little things. Find the little things to be grateful for, not just in this time around the holidays and Thanksgiving, but literally in your everyday life. It's just going to help you stay out of depression and having anxiety, and just going to help you live a happier life for sure.
Right. And this obviously this holiday season shouldn't be the only time you're thinking about what you're thankful for. That's just the main thing. Every day, the people that you talk to on a daily basis, the things that you're fortunate of, even just having a job, as much as we complain about having our jobs, and most people don't like their job, but at the end of the day, you have a job. Being thankful for that. If you have a significant other, they may aggravate you on a daily basis, but still being thankful for them. But yeah, being thankful, guys, your life, you'll have such more of a positive aspect, positive outlook on all those things on a day to day. Just finding something to be thankful for. If you're having a bad day, go find something to be thankful for. Try your best to go. You find something to be mad about. A lot of people like find something to be mad about. Go find something to be thankful for today.
Yeah. And if you're having a bad day, man, there's always somebody who's got it worse. So that's one thing you can be thankful for.
That they have it worse.
No, there's always no that you could be thankful for, that you don't have it as bad as that person.
Right.
Because there's always somebody. That was one thing in insurance that used to get me through, man. There's always somebody with a problem that's worse than yours. So why are you complaining? Why is that problem so big to you? It's not that big. Focus on the solution. Focus on what you're grateful for. So I think that's all that I got for today, man.
Great.
Anything else you want to say? Any other relationships you want to talk about that you're thankful for?
Not this episode, but we'll get into a little bit more of those.
Yeah, we'll get into some, man. But we appreciate you guys tuning in this week. Super grateful for you guys. Even if it's just one listener, but we got a couple of you guys out there, and this has been something that this project of the Real Deal Podcast has been something that's been super fulfilling for me.
Yeah.
Every time I record an episode, I just feel so euphoric, on top of the world. It feels so cool. Not making any money in it at all. You know what I'm saying? But I don't really care. It's a lot of fun. And we're thankful for you guys that listen.
Just show up and to listen to us talk, man.
Because if none of you listened, we would just be talking to ourselves.
Just be talking
and
to each other.
We would still probably record.
We'd have a lot of fun too.
we would still be doing it, but we'd just be talking to ourselves with nobody listening to it. So super grateful for you guys, man. If you found value in this episode or entertainment, share it with somebody. Leave a comment on if you liked my metaphor about the cake.
And don't eat too much cake this Thanksgiving.
Don't eat too much cake. No, eat all the cake, man. Leave a comment about that story we started the episode with, man. And love you guys. Appreciate you guys. And we'll see you next week on another episode of The Real Deal Podcast.